speak upon.
Yeah, in order to keep some order and have everyone assured they're going to be able to have time to speak, I'd like to try to organize it a little bit so that, we take the time and we listen to everyone. So I'd like to start with the right side and all the way to the last row in the back, and then people moving forward to come up to speak. So if you're in the back row, the last row, anyone would like to come up and be heard, you can come up now, please.
Go.
Okay, then if not, then the following, okay? Thank you.
Hi.
So it's good evening, if you could just take your name, thank you.
I'm Charles Getz.
Yes, I just might have my, so we can hear you.
Is that better?
In a second. It's on.
It's
Is
all.
it on?
Now you
Okay,
can see
very
now.
good.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charles Gatzik. I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about a couple things. One is I'm very upset that when we all came in here, that the township clerk was stating to each and every one of us that we should not sign the list to
Don't use
speak.
your time.
I'm happy to use my time. Thank you very much. And I'm very upset. I don't really see, I'm sorry, I apologize, it's my time. Thank you. You're allowed to speak during your portion. And what we have here is a direct effort, in my mind, to circumvent our free speech. The same way when we approached the township about coming here to speak and utilize projection equipment, what we got back, first we got 2 no responses. Finally, we CC'd the mayor and council. And then they came back to us and said, well, sir, it would take all night if that was what we were going to do. No one asked for an extension of time. We've just been given I really don't know what the right word is. It just really calls into question what's going on behind the scenes. And to add to that, I'd like to hand this handout out. I called up the township after making someone in my group made multiple requests via Oprah for permits, for other access, other documents, application documents. Each one of those was returned with, we can't find anything, sir. We can't find anything, ma'am. We made 4 separate Oprah requests. Those requests, after I called up Mr. Reardon in the building department, he said, I responded to the clerk. I told her, the deputy clerk, that I responded to her and told her that certain things were not there and that certain things were there, but that we may not be entitled to them, such as plans. In the course of that discussion, I wanted to know why. Why is this that the clerk would write us back in writing clearly and state that there are no plans? I approached the clerk about this. That would be Gretchen, the deputy clerk. Thank you, I apologize. And the deputy clerk informed me that, oh, she read it wrong. Well, it's possible maybe she's been reading them all wrong, every Oprah request that she's ever got. That's a possibility too. But when we're asked to be strictly compliant with our request and to ask for specific documents, we should have the expectation that the deputy clerk who's been trained should provide those documents. Or if you go to the GRC and you look, that's the Government Records Council, and you look at the process, it says top 10 mistakes that a records clerk can make. Number 1 is not aggregating the request. 4 requests for these types of documents, and this clerk could not take 2 moments to get back to us and say, sir, you're looking for something, and maybe here's a little way that this is what you should be asking for. That's GRC. I called them up. Maybe we're going to file a complaint. We're going to make that decision. Well, in the course of that process, first let's go back to Mr. Reardon. I asked him if, I said, we looked at the meeting last month, and clearly the pet store owners make a statement on the public record saying that they are under construction. Look it up. It's on the public record from last month. They also stated on the record that they're selling puppies and kittens on the public record. So each of the statements that were made in error. I'd like to enter into the record the fact that I went out and I looked and I saw that there is ongoing
Your
construction.
time is up.
Oh, I apologize. I'm sure the next person will continue this thought process. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. And whoever was next that wanted
Thank you.
to speak in the back row.
Hand it over. Give it to her. Put it on record.
Thank you. I'd like it entered into the record. Thank you.
Okay. So, not to interrupt you, everyone in the back row that wanted to speak has spoken, so now it's the next row. I just want to make sure I get to everybody.
Probably gonna break this thing, I apologize.
You want to sit, so it's up to you.
No, that's fine.
Or you could take it off, you know.
You take it off the stand and just hold it.
Thank you, okay, as long as you can hear me. My name is Sherry Wexler, I'm a resident of Old Bridge. I would like to continue what Mr. Gatzert was saying. As I hand it in front of you, you're going to see a photo of the site for the Petland store. As you can see, there was a concerned citizen that went and took that photo because there were no permits displayed. And after it was said at the council meeting that it was under construction and there were no permits, as you can see, that photo was taken. There was clearly work done. There was demolition, there was wiring, there was walls erected, and every other thing which you can see there. This was all done without permits. As a resident, I ask you, if you believe that this is going to be an ethical business, which my colleagues are going to speak to the fact that Petland is not, if they're already doing work and violating the law without permits, it's not going to get any better. It's a sign of things to come. It's not going to be good for our town. I look at you before me and your mothers and daughters and educated people, professional people, veterinarians. I've heard you speak. We're all humans. We're all the same people. I'm just like you. No one's better than anybody else. Excuse me, I have a cold. I ask you, puppy mills are inhumane. No responsible breeder would sell to a pet store ever, and you're going to be presented with more evidence on that. Petland is a horrible company with deceptive business practices, consumer complaints, dead puppies, sick puppies, many violations which you have all been received in your email and you're going to hear about tonight. I don't want that in my town. As a voter, taxpayer, and your constituent, I ask you, please do the right thing. Please do what 341 other municipalities have done. They're not doing it to look good. They're not doing it for any other reason. They're doing it because it's the right thing to move us forward and not backward. And I would ask you to join the 140 of them which are in New Jersey. Some of them right here in Marlboro, Manalapan, Homedale, Mattawan, East Brunswick, Sayreville, South Amboy. All of these councils understand, and they don't allow this cruelty in our town. I ask you to stand on the side of good, not evil, and hey, please pass an ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Coming down the road so I could get to everyone, okay? Good evening.
Good evening. I just want to introduce myself and my partner. I'm Cynthia Kester. This is Troy Marshall. We are homeowners in Old Bridge, taxpayers, voters, and consumers. And in short, I'm very upset at the poor decision that could possibly happen by allowing this shop to open. Very inhumane. I hope you all do your research, your homework. It hits home with me as an animal lover, but mostly as a consumer here. I just want you to know that I will be very upset with everybody here if this happens to go through and this shop does open. I think it would be a poor decision. As a consumer, I will stand firm and I will not shop in Old Bridge. I will take my business to towns outside of here, and I stand firm on that. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in that row or the row in front of it? But not on the right side first. So just this way so you'll all get to speak. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Marissa Weber from Aberdeen. I volunteer with Pet Adoption Network and a couple other rescue organizations that serve Old Bridge and surrounding towns. We work tirelessly to help homeless pets, reduce the burden on municipal shelters, and assist residents in the process. On a weekly basis, we receive calls from people with designer dogs and purebreds looking to get rid of them. So yes, breeders and pet stores do negatively impact pet homelessness. There are countless reasons for the council to support an ordinance banning the sale of cats and dogs, most of which you've already heard tonight and will continue to or have heard at last month's meeting. But a resolution just won't be enough. What difference will a position statement make? Would you issue a position statement saying that it's important to be kind to others and not to hurt them, or would you put it into action? Actions are what matter, not words. When 140 New Jersey towns have already passed this kind of ordinance, and they didn't do so on a whim. The decisions were thoughtful, well-educated, and deliberated with the residents' interests in mind. The decisions were guided by the understanding that the most humane option here is also in the best interest of constituents and consumers, and not a corporation that makes use of the cruelty of puppy mills. If you allow the retail sale of cats and dogs within your town, especially from a company with such a poor reputation for animal cruelty, consumer deception, and risks to consumer health, you are inviting a slew of unfavorable attention and scrutiny. I cannot understand why Old Bridge would want to take such a risk. Please pass an ordinance as soon as possible and allow the store to open up while collaborating with rescue groups. It's a win-win for everybody. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in that row that wishes to speak? The following row then, the one in front of that row, anyone in that row want to speak? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Justina Hill. I'm also an Old Bridge resident. I moved here in 2014 and since then have been volunteering multiple animal rescue groups. You're going to hear from a lot of my colleagues, and you already did, in regards to the thousands and millions of dogs and cats that get received every year, purebreds, all different kinds. And, you know, the thing with puppy stores or dog stores, think about, I'm sure all of you have walked into a puppy store at some point in your life. What feeling do you get when you walk in there? Joy or sadness? I feel sadness because you see these puppies behind bars and all you want to do is get them out. And all you want to do is play with them and take them home. And some of us do, and that's an impulse buy. That's not a logical, planned purchase. If you really want a golden retriever, you're going to do your research. You're going to go online, we have the internet now, and you're going to pick your own breeder by maybe friend recommendations, by reviews, and we don't need a store to make that choice for us and then pay them to do it. Again, there's a lot of many other reasons I can tell you from the rescue world of reasons you shouldn't purchase a dog from a puppy store, but that'll take a lot longer than my 3 minutes. But I do want to say also that the majority of shelters get full with dogs between 1 and 2 years old because they're no longer cute small puppies. They've grown and they are a lot to handle. And your older shelter might only have 1 or 2 dogs right now, but in a year or two, if the store opens, it'll be full. Thank you.
Next, anyone else in that row or? Yes. Good evening.
Hi, how are you? Oh, it's actually, I'm pretty sick. My name is Michelle Casello from Alton. I'm a local resident, and people are flooding Facebook with all of these claims about puppy mills and how the store is going to sell puppies from puppy mills. But I've also seen the posts from the pet shop, and I have done my research, and they're not getting puppies from puppy mills. It seems to me that these groups are bullying anyone who says they support this store. I can't believe what they write in the disgusting language that they use. Who are they to dictate what is done in our community and tell me where I can and cannot shop and what types of pets I can have? They keep touting puppy mills, puppy mills. If you research, you will see exactly where they will be getting their puppies from. The store states that they will tell everyone who the breeders are, but the online bullies just dismiss that and keep harassing everyone. I have a lot of friends and relatives that have no choice but to get their dogs from out of state, and unfortunately, some of these probably come from, puppy mills. Some had issues with the dogs that they purchased, and there was no recourse for them, just thousands of dollars in vet bills. Who are these people who take away our rights as citizens to choose where to get our dogs from? If they don't want to buy from the store, then just don't go there. Don't tell me where I can and cannot go. If this store is following all the laws and regulations, isn't it their right to run their business? It disgusts and saddens me that a few people can make so much noise and say they represent the majority when in fact they represent themselves in a small group. Everyone I speak to is excited for the store and can't wait for it to open. That's your majority. Ask your friends and relatives where they get their dogs from, and if they would like someone locally where they can get a good, healthy dog and good breeders to Barnsies. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in that row that wishes to be heard? If not, we'll go to the next row right in front of it, please. Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, Larry Cohen. I live in Fanwood. I'm a volunteer legislative coordinator with the Humane Society of the United States. Had you acted in response to just one of the horrors your own New Jersey neighbors had experienced in East Brunswick or Woodbridge with puppy selling stores, or in response to the measures those same neighbors have been taking to fight them, the situation you find yourself in likely would have never happened, and this meaningless resolution would have been unnecessary. While towns all around you were passing ordinances to protect themselves from something similar happening to them, you ignored our pleas. On February 22nd, 2017, you received this email from people in this room asking you to consider passing a pet store ordinance. Because you were busy people and things fall through the cracks sometimes, on April 1st of that year, they sent you another email asking the same thing. 4 of you, Mayor Henry, Councilwomen Sohor, Walker, and Greenberg, were in office at that time and received those emails, but you ignored them. Now you're on the verge of forever linking your town's good name with arguably the worst pet store chain for animals in the nation. Everyone says they're against puppy mills. Just like everyone says they're against drug dealers and domestic abusers of both people and animals. We don't just pass resolutions condemning them, however. We pass laws that try to keep them out of our towns. Turns out that 6 Petland stores across the country, at least 6, do not sell puppies from commercial breeders. It is not a mandatory piece of their business model. And there's no reason the Old Bridge store cannot become the 7th. Let's say you passed a resolution condemning the deceptive marketing and abusive prescribing of opioids. I know you're concerned about that. I see the posters in the hallway. Would you at the same time allow Purdue Pharma, before its bankruptcy, to open an opioid outlet in Old Bridge? What if they said, no, the OxyContin they wanted to prescribe to people in need was only the best quality and only the best pharmacists and doctors would work there? Would their word be enough for you to dismiss the lawsuits and the billion-dollar judgments against them? Would it be enough for you to dismiss the thousands of deaths that their business practices have been proven to have caused? How about if the Gallows had come to you and said they wanted to open a facility under a franchise agreement they had with Bad News Kennels, founded by Michael Vick? Would you have wanted that association with your town? And for all the horrors Vic perpetrated upon those poor dogs, in its totality, is Petland's resume really any better?
Okay, your time is up. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Hi, I'm Alan Coyote from Hamilton Township, where we passed the ordinance to protect our town. And I wanted to thank you for this opportunity. Again, I'm a New Jersey State Certified Animal Cruelty Investigator, and I've been involved in animal protection for the past 43 years. I've also been a vet tech. I co-founded 2 animal welfare groups, have volunteered for shelter and rescue adoption, and I've had my own pet sitting business. To me, this is not rocket science. It's a no-brainer. We say that the dogs are man's best friends. I think it's time we did them a solid. It's not that we don't want anybody to have choice or where they go for their dogs or anything. We care about where these dogs are coming from and parents that stay in these concentration camps for their whole life until they die. As I said last time about what the Humane Society said, the USDA said in its own Office of Inspector General reports, the last was from 2010, about what they say about USDA licensing and how it's pretty much meaningless. It's also for the AKC registration papers, because it's only going money into their coffers. These dogs aren't quality bred puppies, I'm sorry. And what the retail puppy sellers hold up as the holy grail is untrue. The reason why I believe, and there's only 100% inspectors to inspect these 10,000 facilities in the United States. The reason why there's more puppy mills is, more investigating is put more people how to register. If you sell over the internet, anybody who doesn't sell face-to-face with seeing the mother, one of the parents, you have to be registered. So even if you sell over the internet, and that's who the USDA also has to go after, but that's another whole story. And to me, if you're breeding 2 or more dogs, you're not in it for responsible reasons, improving the breed or making sure family get the right breed for them, to ensure spay and neuter contracts, or take out the puppies at any time in their lives. The Petland thing, I can't remember, it's either 90 or 180 days is all they have to take their dog back. Responsible breeders will take back their dogs at any time in their life and give you education all the time on how to take care of it. And the videos I saw with these breeders they went to, they were either Amish or Mennonites. And the Amish take care of Lancaster County, and the Mennonites do mostly Ohio. There's like 500 breeders. They think we're insane the way, and silly and stupid the way we think of our animals. To let them in the house, to let them on our furniture, let them into our beds. They think of them as just livestock, and that's how they treat them. I'd just like to say I would hope you'd stem the flow of the animals from inhumane breeding operations into pet stores in New Jersey. This is a critical step that Old Bridge can and should take, not encouraging the industry so intrinsically linked to unnecessary animal suffering and consumer fraud. To protect people and animals instead of allowing a well-documented, unethical, and dangerous business, not only in your community, but the state of New Jersey. And as I won't have time to read it, but I sent you what the USDA requirements are, and I would subject that to my worst enemy. Thank you very much.
Good evening.
Good evening. Just hold it. My name is Jean Clayton. I'm from Marlton, New Jersey, and I am the founder of Jean Clayton, Marlton, New Jersey. I'm one of the founders of New Jersey Residents Against Puppy Mills. The main purpose of our group is to check pet stores, put them together with reports from the USDA, from the federal government, from state government, from health officials, to Consumer Affairs Department. For 4 years, we have been sending reports to Consumer Affairs. I myself have sent over 130. Never had them do much of anything. So you can't count them. They're like a paper tiger. You cannot count on them to do anything. There are 70 Petland stores, including safari stands, in this country. If they sold 500 dogs a year, which is not unreasonable, there are stores here now that sell over that. That would be 35,000 dogs per year. There is no way they can come from small, responsible breeders. The dogs they buy come from breeders that have as many as 300, 500, 900 dogs. I was very sorry to